Welcome and thank you for joining us today for EFA Design Showcase Awards, a presentation of industry leading design excellence, a SAGE webinar presented by myself, Rob Simonetti, Nicole Hill, Janice Sanada, and Thomas McQuillen. At this point, each panelist will introduce themselves and I'll get us started. I'm Rob Simonetti, Senior Living Leader with Labella Associates, headquartered in Rochester, New York. I am past president of SAGE, a current board member, and the SAGE liaison to the Design Showcase.
I'm Nicole Hill, Senior Project Manager at Faulkner Design Group, and I'm presenting our project that won an Award of Merit.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Janice Sanada. I'm an architect and managing principal at LRS Architects. I was privileged to serve as one of the jurors on the panel, and today I'm honored to represent the viewpoint of the jury.
And I'm Tom McQuillen from Lizard Rock Designs, and I'm going to be presenting the Dementia Care and Education Campus.
All right, let's clean my act up here and we'll get going. So attendees will be muted throughout this webinar session. You will have the option to type in any questions by clicking on the Q&A button on the top of your screen, and we will answer those questions at the conclusion of the session as time allows. SAGE is an AIA-approved provider, and participants in this course are eligible for AIA learning units. Please note that you must be registered for and logged into the webinar to receive those credits and a certificate of completion. And please make sure that your name that you used to log into the webinar corresponds with the name for your registration. SAGE will report credits earned by course attendees to AIA CES and will provide certificates of completion within 1 week if requested. If you do not enter your member number or request a certificate of completion upon registration, you did not, please email SAGE Federation for more information. info@sagefederation.org. This information presented in today's presentation is protected under copyright. For those of you not familiar with SAGE, we are the society. Wow. For those who are not familiar with SAGE, we're the Society for the Advancement of Gerontological Environments, a membership-based organization representing and promoting collaboration between all disciplines in the senior living industry. SAGE is pleased to present AIA-approved webinars every month. These webinars are free to SAGE members. SAGE is a collaboration of professionals advocating for innovative and meaningful environments for seniors. We are founded by none other than Maggie Calkins, the 2022 Environments for Aging Changemaker Award winner. And of all those webinars that we have recorded over the last number of years, we have about 80 of them that are on the SAGE website, and all members will have access to those webinars, as well as access to the SAGE POEs, which we've been doing for all the years that SAGE has been around. So there are currently quite a number on the website, and this year we're currently working on the Ventana by Buckner POE, which we performed last year. We'll be running the POE this year, so you should see that posted shortly. And then the Ventana is the image on the right. We will engage in great industry initiatives, member organization receptions at each of the industry conferences. And importantly, SAGE members receive a 10% discount to the Environments for Aging Conference, as well as a 15% discount to the Center for Innovation Conference, which is the former Pioneer Network and the Greenhouse Organization, which have now combined. And for more information on SAGE, please visit sagefederation.org. Each year, EFA publishes the Environments for Aging Design Showcase in the spring edition. It's a compilation of architecture and interior design projects representing outstanding and innovative design solutions in new or renovated senior care communities across the nation. This year, the program is still open. Reservations for it are due on November 10th, and you have until December 4th to make a submission. So if you're interested, there's still plenty of time to get something together and see if you can get your project in next year's presentation. And for more information about the program, visit EFA magazine. You'll find all the metrics there. About this jury program, the jury each year is made up of about 16 design professionals, architects, interior designers, providers, consultants, regulators, and educators. We try to get a balanced mix for the jury makeup. We'll split the submissions, which is usually 50 to 60 submissions. We'll split those into 4 groups, and we'll create 4 teams, and each team will have a representative from each discipline, so that all of the submissions are judged equally by architects and interior designers, et cetera. And then we'll cross check all of those submissions as well from team to team, so we don't have just a small number of people weighing in a project. We started in a virtual format, so all the members get the submissions, review them, make their notes, send in sort of grades on the metrics of aesthetics, experience and collaboration, innovation, operations, and well-being. And then the fun part of the project is to come together. All 16 or more of the jury members will come together in a location, often the previous winner's location from prior year, gather there. And this is where it really gets intense. It's a 2-day session where all the jury members will discuss each of the submissions. We'll usually narrow it down to the top 12 to 15 and then really get intense about those. And people really do get intense. It's very thorough with all these different disciplines. People really bring different perspectives and bring passion to it. So it's a really critical element. It's fun. It's an enjoyable thing to participate in. So if you're interested in being a member of the jury, you can contact Lori Bridgman or I, and we can get you a link to the application form through EFA. So without further ado, we'll get right to the showcase winners from last year, and I'll hand it over to Tom McQuillen to talk about Hospice of the Valley.
Thanks, Rob. I wanted to just focus on the fact that this project is ultimately about connecting residents with the garden and with the surrounding neighborhood and with their community. The program is a kind of interesting one. I got to give credit to the client for being brave enough to include a small care campus, 24 residents, adult and child care, and then also desire to host up to 150 people for educational and training events. And the immediate challenge that offered was, how do you bring 150 people into a kind of small scale care campus and not totally disrupt the campus? So if you go to the next one. So this is the site plan, and in a kind of simple sense, the strategy of the site was to have the buildings become essentially like the garden wall, and then dissolve the edge as much as possible to allow the outdoor spaces to interact and come into the resident care spaces. You can see around the site, there's churches to the north. There is a high school, Arcadia High School, to the east. And then on the south and the west, there's a very well-established residential neighborhood. So it's got a lot of components that can be drawn on to kind of connect the site to the neighborhood and to the community around it. Next. So the kind of key thing to know about the floor plan is that the way that the kind of tensions that are inherent in the program got resolved is that each building has a kind of different relationship to the garden. In the assisted living building, which is the blue building on the lower left there, residents are typically ambulatory. They can walk out in the garden and experience it better. So the building opens up, it kind of embraces the garden. There's a large patio just to the northeast of it. And that has that original view that was the first one that came up towards Camelback Mountain. And then each resident suite has its own private patio. And it really brings in the outdoor light and everything like that. The palliative care building, which is on the lower right, is a little bit more inward turning. The patios are smaller, and the patio outside of it is smaller. Adult and child daycare share a patio that is focused on the play area, which has the orange shade structures over it. And then the education building, which is where all the people and visitors are coming to, has kind of two spillover patios outside of it. But they're kind of limited in access. They can't, most visitors can't go beyond those patios, but they can look in and experience the kind of inner life of the campus. Next. And this is, you can kind of see the overall site strategy in this rendering. You've got the buildings as garden wall. The scale of the buildings is kind of key to the scale of the residential neighborhoods to the south and the west of the campus. You can see where the wall kind of breaks apart, and that diagonal view shed to the northeast towards Camelback Mountain. And then you can see off in the distance the two churches and the high school. The other thing about this is there's a parking lot with 180 parking spaces underneath it. And the strategy for kind of minimizing the impact of that was that we put it, halfway down and terraced the edges so that it had a lot less impact on the neighborhood around it and on the campus itself. Next. And this is kind of the experience of that parking lot from 44th Street. You can see that there are terraces, there are stone-faced walls, and the beginnings of a green border that'll kind of buffer the campus and the sidewalk along there. The houses are all 1 or 2 stories. The only 2-story structure is the education building, which is on the northwest corner of it. And it kind of picks up the massing of the neighborhood to the south. Next. So another challenge in the project was, how to make the interiors feel familiar and kind of home-like for most of the residents who are going to be coming from the Arcadia neighborhood. And mid-century modern homes are typical of that neighborhood. There's kind of a cottage industry of finding them and refurbishing them and all that. So we kind of took our cue from that. The interior detailing is simple, an emphasis on natural materials and natural light. We kept the colors subdued so that the artwork and the furnishings could kind of animate the space. The wood ceilings you see, actually, it's an acoustic ceiling. There are a lot of hard spaces, hard surfaces in the space, so it was important to make sure that it didn't become kind of echoey. Next, please. As I mentioned earlier, it was important to integrate the resident suites with the garden. So you can see this is a photograph of one of the suites in the assisted living building. You can see there's a bay window that's big enough for a family member. If they need to stay over, they can stay in a recliner there. On the patios are set up with a low wall to kind of discourage wandering into adjacent suites, but it's kept, pretty non-intrusive so that the resident really has an opportunity to enjoy the garden beyond it. There are some, the planting area is actually raised up a bit there to also discourage wandering. The other thing to mention is that within both the care buildings, there's a circadian lighting system that helps to kind of modulate the residents' circadian rhythms to help with improved sleep. Next slide. So this is a picture of the great room in the palliative care building, and our client told us that when residents are ready for palliative care, they tend to spend more of their time in their rooms. So the building is set up so that their rooms are immediately off the great room, both for better access for family members and for staff. And then the great room itself tends to be used more by family members. There are seating areas to encourage conversation. And, one of the things that we learned during the project was that dementia is really a disease that affects families. Families go on the journey along with their loved ones. So next slide. Similarly, in the kitchen area, most of the residents are eating in their rooms, or they're not eating much at all. So the kitchen is really just a serving area, but it also serves as a place for family members to come and get a cup of coffee or a sandwich, and potentially even talk to other families about the things that they're struggling with as well. You can see off to the left, there's a greeter's desk, but pretty much the staff areas are kept kind of backstage to preserve the kind of residential feel of the interiors. Next. So at the adult and child care center, the play area is kind of a punctuation mark of color and activity at the northeast corner of the garden. It's raised up slightly, and there's a patio just outside of it where residents can sit and watch the children playing without a kind of obvious way to wander into the play area. And it helps to animate the garden. There's also just off to the right-hand side of the photograph, there's a ramp behind a planter so that the children and child care center can go on excursions down to the garden, and it's kind of in keeping with the client's desire to do intergenerational activities in a kind of controlled way. Next. So this is a photograph of the shared patio between adult daycare and childcare. It's set up, each of the two programs has a kind of movable glass wall. And again, that's to be able to do intergenerational activities in a controlled way. The medical director on the campus had a nice thing that she kept coming back to, which is the idea that children don't really see dementia. They just see a grandma or grandpa. And that kind of encapsulated what the benefit of these intergenerational activities are. Next. So in the education center, there are a number of conference rooms and training centers and other places like that. The idea is to bring in anyone from the community, first responders, people who are training to be caregivers, and give them a chance to kind of be on the campus. But the cafe, which you see in the photograph there, is also open to residents who can come over with a caregiver or with a family member. And the idea is to make it so that members of the community can spend time around people with dementia and start to feel more comfortable with the disease itself. Next, please. So this is a photograph of one of the patios just to the east of the conference center. It kind of gives you a good sense of how these low walls that are faced with stone, the planters, are used to separate areas but allow views into them so that residents aren't tempted to wander into areas that could be dangerous to them. It also gives you an idea of the way that materials and shading was used to soften the border between buildings, and that's typical. Kind of, you see them all over the campus. And then the colored concrete and wood on the underside of the roof is also typical of the Southwest, just the kind of, again, soften the materials that are out in the heat and everything. Next. So this is the patio that's directly outside the childcare area, and it's meant as a destination. You can see it's one of the two patios along the Wanderers Loop in the center, and the idea is that residents can come and they can sit under the shade structure. They can watch the children play beyond. There are a couple of you can see the art patio just west of the adult daycare center on the right there. And then eventually, kind of in between the two buildings, there's going to be a habitat for a desert tortoise up in there. They haven't found a tortoise yet to take up residence. So next. So this is back to that initial image. Where you can see Camelback Mountain off in the northeast, and the kind of lushness of the garden. It's all plants that are appropriate to the desert, but still feels lush and green. And the nice thing about Arizona is that we can live outside for 6-7 months a year. And the goal again of this project was to kind of connect the resident care spaces as much as possible with the garden and with the community. And dementia is such an isolating disease, and we're continuing to work on other projects where we can find new ways of making those kinds of connections.
The jury really wanted to recognize the Hospice of the Valley for its thoughtful design, and it fosters a really warm and inclusive atmosphere for the diverse program participants. The central courtyard in particular balances privacy and social interaction and enhances the residents' experiences while preserving connections to the broader community. Drawing inspiration from the neighboring homes, the design maintains a residential scale and timeless warmth. The strategically placed program areas create connections to the broader intergenerational community, fostering a sense of belonging and inclusivity, and enhancing the overall experience for the residents. The project stands as a testament to innovative and considerate design, harmonizing safety, aesthetics, and community integration, creating an environment where the residents are given every opportunity to live full and vibrant lives. And with that, we get to hear a little bit more from Nicole on her project.
Thank you. So again, I'm Nicole Hill, Senior Project Manager at Faulkner Design Group, and I'm here to present and represent our submission for Uptown Oaks at the Hallmark. We submitted this with Perkins Eastman earlier in the year, so I'm going to do my best to do it justice. So Uptown Oaks at the Hallmark is located in Houston, Texas. It is a luxury residential IL expansion to the Hallmark campus. It's a modern 35-story tower comprised of 113 apartments with lifestyle and wellness focused amenities, which was a missing piece until now in a community operating since 1963. The owner and operator of the Hallmark community, which is Brazos Presbyterian Homes, envisioned an architecturally significant building that would enhance the skyline and the neighborhood, while expanding its market reach with contemporary residences fitting the modern lifestyle for today's active adults. So this slide here is just showing how this campus and this new tower are really, it's existing in a tight urban site. So the Hallmark has resided in the Post Oak area of Houston since 1963, and most of the surrounding neighborhood has really built itself up to be a thriving urban environment. So the Hallmark provides the best of urban living while still maintaining a welcoming neighborhood charm. The location offers easy access to downtown, the museum district, the Texas Medical Center, high-end shopping, and sporting venues, all while keeping residents active and engaged with the surrounding community. But however, as typical with urban sites, the only available land area left on their campus was a corner zone parking lot. There was no other location for this project that had the land area large enough to support parking with residential above. So the team took an approach of sliding an amenity form, which have clarity on in just a few of the next slides. But sliding an amenity form into the existing Hallmark Heritage Tower, connecting horizontally, and then stacking the new building on top of those amenities. Future phases are proposed to remove and replace the current towers that are existing on campus now that have potential to become outdated. And the team in preparation for that laid the groundwork early with horizontal connections, creating a network of corridors that would link the existing campus structures to this new one, allowing the Hallmark to continue to grow. So this slide is showing some relationships with the existing campus along with some of our space planning. So a lot of the grayed out portions are existing pieces of the Hallmark campus. Towards the back, the large structure is their healthcare building, and towards the right, front, and back, the smaller structures are the existing independent living towers. The client desired both an efficient program and a socially engaging community that would appeal to the active adult lifestyle. This was achieved through creative space planning, envisioning multi-use spaces for many of the amenity areas. Currently, the amenity spaces on the existing Hallmark campus are sprinkled throughout the campus, tucked into retrofitted spaces that doesn't really allow for residents to come together in an activated space. So this new connector building, detailed in this plan, will bring these amenities together, creating a social center for residents living both in the new tower as well as the existing towers. So on this particular floor plan, numbers 9 and 13 are designating where our current Hallmark Heritage Tower actually exists. And that space is planned to be completely gutted and renovated into new amenities. So that will hold a new sales center, art studio, and a casual dining space. And this is also the start of the connection point to the new structure and the new building that is found with space 1, 3, and 10. That's our connection point right there between the two. This page is showing the second floor connection. So both levels 1 and 2 of this project are all amenity spaces. So this second floor is holding our formal dining, a club room, a putting green, and a library community space of sorts. So this is open to one another. The game room, the card room, and the library, so that nothing is separated. Everything is overflowing to one another for opportunities for more events, as well as the formal dining that has a exhibition kitchen, and both of those spaces are connected by a large covered patio and putting green. And then on this particular slide, again, the gray portion to the right is the existing heritage tower. So you can see where number 5 and 6 is the connection point of the new structure to that existing building. So this slide showing the tower in elevation. The tower's new form and its impact on the apartments it houses was extensively deliberated. The final design offers a taller, thinner, square tower that provides an outside corner and balcony for the majority of the residences and limits the number of apartments on each floor. By placing apartments on the corners, the floor plans benefit from increased daylighting on at least 2 perimeter walls. The result is a natural light-filled residence with panoramic views of downtown Houston and surrounding neighborhoods. To capture the essence of luxury and privacy, each floor only houses 3 to 5 apartments, reducing the number of neighbors and corridor traffic. This also reduces walking distances for residents, as each apartment is only a few feet from the elevators. So that's what we can see here, typical of floors 9 through 30. Each of those colored sections is representing a unit type, and then our core is the elevator lobby. So again, with this project, level 1 and 2 were our amenity spaces. Level 3 through 7 are the garage. We're back to amenities at level 8, and then 9 through 30 are apartments, with levels 31 and through 33 being penthouse levels. So this rendering shows the Uptown Oaks tower and the existing Hallmark campus connected by a new entrance. So that foreground kind of red brick building is the existing heritage tower on the Hallmark campus. So more than an entry, it represents the new identity of the Hallmark campus and creates an arrival experience for guests and residents. The second story glass cantilever structure connects the existing heritage building to Uptown Oaks while sheltering guests and residents from the elements. Overall, this new entrance provides a safer, more secure arrival and departure process for residents and a stately grand entry. The design of the Uptown Oaks Tower takes cues from the existing facade of the Hallmark Heritage Tower, again seen in the foreground of the rendering. And reinterprets it into a modern crystalline tower and brick podium that is integral to the Hallmark's new identity. So these next few slides are interior renderings. So this rendering is of the main lobby entrance. There's a large reception desk. This was a significant driver to the design of this specific space. So a large reception desk where residents, guests, valet, porters, medical staff, campus staff, etc., all converge. For a bustling campus like the Hallmark, this reception desk is paramount. For the design of the interiors as a whole for the project, it was important that the finishes articulate the sophistication of the tower while providing an aesthetic that feels familiar and resonates with future residents. The Houston area can be very traditional in design. So we took a modern approach to traditional finishes by offering a warm, neutral color palette, highlighted with gold and bronze accents, wood paneling on walls, modern crystal chandeliers, and custom sculptural light installations. So this is the first floor bar, which resides immediately behind the lobby we were just looking at. This is intended to be an activated space with all-day casual dining with multiple seating options. There is a bar in the back that will offer, coffee and tea during the day, but then in the evening can also transition into wine and cocktails. What's not shown in the rendering, but another feature of this space is that it is intended to be the host stand portion of residents checking in for formal dining that's immediately above. This is the community center or multi-purpose room. This is kind of the base of the new tower, essentially. So again, this was designed to hold close to 200 residents. It can, be broken up for multiple activities. The intention was for it to be also opened up to the community as a whole for various events or programs, training, etc. We did specifically try to design this space to feel a little more traditional in that ballroom expectation. So large patterned carpet, and instead of crystal chandeliers, we have a sculptural light installation and then acoustical ceiling panels to help with sound. This is a grab and go. So the intention here is to create more of an upscale gourmet market. So offering like prepared foods, fresh fruits, sandwiches, drinks along with coffee, and perhaps just limited grocery items. And then there would be self-service kiosks. It was a hard sell, but we're confident most of the residents would be comfortable using this at the time the building opens. And this is a rendering of that second story glass cantilevered structure. This houses the formal dining room. It is only open for dinner service. So this jewel box basically provides panoramic views of the Post Oak neighborhood. Because of all that glass, though, and hard surface areas, acoustics were concerned. So we designed this space to receive an acoustical wood slat ceiling system. We did use broadloom carpet throughout, and where available, added wall covering on walls to help with all of that sound absorption. So this is taking us up to the 8th floor. The 8th floor of this project is primarily made up, half of it was dedicated to wellness, so a salon, fitness, yoga, massage, and then the other half of it was dedicated to a pool restaurant, which is what this rendering is here. So the Cabana Grill is featured here. It's the hub of activity between the pool deck that you can see just beyond those windows. This was intended to be open again during the day, so it can service both the fitness space for juices or gathering after a workout, or open to the pool for all day, lunch and gathering of family and grandkids. And then this is the resort style pool just off of that restaurant. So we do have a terrace in the back that's covered, and then multiple seating types and plenty of shade. It gets very hot and humid in Houston, so we don't quite have the 6 to 7 months that Tom has in Arizona. And then this last slide is just a quick snapshot of that putting green that's on level 2. So what we're looking towards is our level 2 club room, and our formal dining room is just behind us in this view. I think, Janice, that's you.
Thanks, Nicole. The jury wanted to congratulate Uptown Oaks for its design, elevating resident and staff experiences. The design approach emphasizes a connection to nature with the central courtyards, weaving the new addition with the existing campus and inviting residents to enjoy well-lit indoor spaces that spill into the outdoors. This thoughtful integration draws people outside, enhancing interior illumination and improves operational efficiencies. The design harmoniously blends with the existing campus, featuring a podium layered with brick and vertical fenestrations, and the sophisticated interiors marry modern sensibilities with the traditional finishes. The tower itself represents a contemporary, active urban lifestyle. The design activates a street entrance, and the project becomes a vibrant part of the urban landscape, showcasing the successful fusion of aesthetics, functionality, and community engagement. Next. So on top of the 2 Award of Merit recipients, this year the jury recognized 4 projects with honorable mentions. Each project is distinguished by unique design feature enhancing resident and staff environments. Among these projects is Tides Bay Village of Sarasota, submitted by SFCS Inc. It's a memory care building comprising of a 14-resident household. The jury recognizes this design as including all of the components of an exemplary dementia care environment. The design embraces the Floridian atmosphere, utilizing color palettes and outdoor spaces inspired by the local environment. Next. The memory care garden features distinct areas, including a lush backyard with a butterfly garden, a shaded lounge area reminiscent of beach dunes, and a space with a water wall and sensory sand bed evoking beach walks. Next. The building adheres to the household model, ensuring efficient staff movement and minimizing distances between key areas. Resident rooms open directly to communal spaces, mirroring the layout of a home and cultivating a sense of familiarity, while circadian lighting strategies enhance well-being. Crucially, staff sight lines are maintained without compromising the residential atmosphere, ensuring a seamless balance between functionality and comfort. Next. Next slide. Oh, sorry. The design provides spaces for residents to enjoy along a discoverable walking path. The spaces such as activity rooms, parlors, life skill stations, and lanai all feature a light and airy interior design, reflecting the Floridian color palette of soft blues and shiplap walls. Integrating local elements, adherence to the household model, and meticulous attention to safety features make this project an achievement in dementia care design. Next. The second honorable mention recipient is Hardest Buckhead in Atlanta, Georgia, a project submitted by Lance Boggio Architects. The jury recognizes this project as an example of urban living, featuring a high-rise that integrates full-service independent assisted living and memory care facilities within a city setting. Notably, the project navigated the challenges posed by an adjacent operational medical office building. Their solution involved shared automobile access and loading spaces between the 2 entities, streamlining project efficiencies. Leveraging the site's steep slope, the project transformed constraints into opportunities, providing multiple parking levels and welcoming ground level entrances accessible from the valet area. Next. Creating an opportunity from the city's requirements for transitional height planes, the building strategically steps back, creating outdoor spaces for each care level and ensuring direct access for residents. These spaces include an independent living rooftop, infinity pool, and fitness plaza, complemented by an indoor fitness center and juice bar. Next. The interior design prioritizes natural light and panoramic views. They create a modern hospitality-inspired spaces. Next. The interior ambiance is further enhanced by vibrant contrasting color palettes and textures, reinforcing its urban character and facilitating intuitive wayfinding. Hardest emerges as an example of creative urban design, harmonizing comfort and urban sophistication. Next. The third honorable mention project, Larson Health Center Shell Point in Fort Myers, Florida, submitted by RDG Planning and Design and Wegman Design Group, is a 6-story, 180 resident skilled nursing facility with clinic space on the ground floor. Noteworthy for its innovative program and resilient features, the project redefines the concept of skilled nursing within a continuing care retirement community. Next. Larson Health Center embodies a holistic vision of healthcare, intertwining various clinic spaces, physical therapy areas, cafe, wellness areas, and a shared ancillary spaces on the ground floor. This layout prioritizes accessibility, convenience, and efficient use of space. By co-locating wellness health needs, the building removes the stigma of nursing care for its residents. Next. The upper floors further underscore this commitment, housing 220 resident skilled nursing households per floor. Each floor plan is organized with central kitchens and nursing support spaces strategically positioned to minimize travel distances, enhancing efficiency and responsiveness in care delivery. Shared spaces like the one shown are designed to maximize natural light, fostering a bright and welcoming environment. Next. One of the most impressive aspects of Larson Health Center is its proactive hurricane planning. Situated just a mile from the Gulf of Mexico, the facility exceeds FEMA's shelter-in-place hurricane criteria, surpassing Florida's wind and storm surge requirements. The building's innovative design, including elevating the skilled nursing floors above Category 5 storm surge level, proved its efficacy during Hurricanes Irma in 2017, Ida in 2021, and Ian in 2022. The project's success underscores the leadership and dedication of the project team to ensure the safety and security of the residents in the face of natural disasters. Next. The fourth honorable mention project, Orzo Atlanta, presented by Gallery Living, is a luxury independent assisted living and memory care community, drawing inspiration from the charm of walkable Parisian cities, evident from the building layout to intricate details. Next. The independent living, assisted living, and memory care wings surround centralized amenities and plazas. These wings, connected by narrow components, create an illusion of distinct city buildings. The project ingeniously incorporates these elements, from the layout and mansard roof lines to storefronts, cast stone fireplaces, and door hardware details. This attention to detail creates a consistent atmosphere and fosters a sense of community and charm within the living spaces. Next. Notably, the project extends its influence beyond its walls, fostering connections with local businesses. Partnerships with small retail shops, as shown on the left, such as a flower shop, and salons, as shown on the right, enrich the residents' experience and create deeper integration with the broader community. Next. Residents are treated to a variety of beautifully crafted spaces, including intimate gathering nooks, elegant dining rooms with barrel vaulted ceilings, a grand theater, and a tea room activity space. The centralized amenities not only adhere to the design theme, but also serve as a walkable destination, promoting active and healthy lifestyles among the residents. So on behalf of the jury, we wanted to congratulate all of the Award of Merit and Honorable Mention recipients. So these innovative solutions transform the senior living design, enhance lives, and create beautiful, meaningful environments for residents and dedicated caregivers. So thanks to SAGE and EFA and all of the design teams behind these remarkable projects for the dedication to shaping exceptional living spaces. And I'll hand it over to Rob.
Thank you, Janice, Tom, and Nicole. Well, this concludes the AIA CES education portion of the course, and we do have time for some questions. So you should see a question and answer button in the upper left-hand corner of your screen. If you can just click on that, we'll go through your questions. We've got one so far. Let me just see. Tom, there's a question for Tom. Given the small scale of your project and sort of the intimate and almost easy way you were able to fit it into a community, has this provider considered bringing a similar such project to other communities in Phoenix or elsewhere?
So I think the answer is yes. They, as a part of their wider mission, they, I believe they have 17 care facilities, primarily for hospice care. This is the first dementia care facility that they've done. I think I'm not sure that they would take the same model. Although Phoenix is so large and spread out, you could set up a similar model on the west side of Phoenix, and it would be 40 minutes away from this one. So, I think their hope is to become kind of recognized as a leader in state-of-the-art care for dementia care.
That's great. Kudos again. And it's beautiful. And as you're going through the slides, really struck how great programmatically it is. And then also just the design is exceptional, and the tones and colors and materials are just super, really well done.
I think the client really deserves, congratulations for attempting that program, because I think it was it's not one that I've seen somewhere else, and I think it sort of takes a lot of guts to bring large groups of people into a small kind of small scale care environment like that. So and the other part of it was Norris Landscape Design was our landscape designer, and they did just a fantastic job. Integrated the outdoor spaces really well with the interior and the architectural spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, here's a quick one I can answer. Do you know who the architecture firm is when you are doing the judging, or are the submissions anonymous? The submissions are anonymous. We've made clear to those submitting to scrub the submissions of any reference, even to the client. Keep it generic, and of course to the design team. And in the photography, please don't photograph your primary project architect or interior designer, in the photography, because that's also a clue, and it does bias the jury. It really does. So in years past, we've really done a good job of making sure everything is scrubbed, so we don't know anything really about the project author at all. Here's a question for Nicole. With such a dramatic change to the campus planned, how were the existing residents engaged in the design process?
The existing residents, to say the least, were not thrilled. It was so I do know the executive director had started I believe they were like monthly meetings with the existing residents to be able to address their concerns. So it was not a smooth process. The residents, like we said, that community has been there since 1963, and a lot of these residents have grown up in the Houston proper area. Some of them have even known the Hallmark due to family being there previously. So it was a process. We actually started renovating the existing Heritage Tower corridors as a way to start kind of making that connection to this new building. And that was also a rough start, but thankfully we are a year and a half in and complete. And I think the residents are much more comfortable with the idea now. I don't think it was a matter of new residents coming into the community, but just a significant change to their campus. And we know that tends to be a pretty difficult idea for most seniors. Renovation is never easy.
Yeah, no, certainly. And common concern on any project, but given the tight site and the nature of the campus, especially here. So here's a question for Janice. What is the most significant new ideas you are seeing as a juror? And we can maybe just focus on those submissions you saw in this year's package.
Yeah. I've really been enjoying how the designers have, as Tom has, incorporated outdoor spaces, as well as Nicole's project has, and some of the others, and how that connection between the interior and the exterior, and making sure that those spaces are usable for as many months out of the year. So that's been really wonderful to see.
And then for Tom, for Hospice of the Valley, are the staff able to manage the potential crossover of AL with adult day participants?
Yeah, actually, if you're in the garden, there's no obvious way to get up to the level that the adult daycare is on, and that was intentional. The way that they wanted to manage that was to basically identify residents in assisted living who could benefit from and participate in activities up in adult daycare, or with the joint intergenerational activities. And it's sort of a weird thing about licensing in Arizona. If you want to mix two programs like that, you have to essentially treat it as an excursion. They won't license it if there isn't a kind of clear division between them. But it kind of works that way practically. A staff person goes with a couple of residents if there's an activity that they want to take part in, whether it's art or a joint activity with the childcare. So
Okay. Very good. Another one for Tom, more on the technical / design end. What construction material considerations at the resident interfaces were considered at the hospice building, considering the what we might consider excessive temperatures?
Yeah, actually a lot of the shade structures that you saw are they're steel structures, but everything that you could potentially touch is wrapped with a product called hardy board, which is essentially a wood product, and you can get it so that it doesn't retain heat as much. And then in Arizona, you spend a lot of time kind of analyzing sun angles and where the shade is going to be and everything like that, so that you don't create let's say a seat wall that's not going to be shaded, that's going to be dangerous to a resident, who may not be paying attention to it. So, we spent a lot of time looking at that. We used also on the seat walls, they're essentially a product like Cool Deck, which doesn't retain the heat as much on it. It is it's a technical question, but it's kind of essential in Arizona because when you get 115-degree temperatures, metal becomes dangerous to anybody. So,
okay, thank you. And another for Janice. Were you seeing any sustainable building projects in the latest set of submissions?
Yeah, so not in every submission, but we are seeing sustainable and resilient strategies, which is really exciting, I think, for all of us. And it really is a great way to tell a story about a project. So if you have projects that have those elements, please be sure to share that.
Great. Well, thank you. That is all the questions that we have for today. So I want to come back again and thank Nicole, Janice, and Tom for being panel participants and for working on and during these great projects that are sort of so important to bring forward to a wider audience to see what's going on in the design world of senior living. So thank you all for joining us today, and special thanks to my co-panelists for sharing your time and expertise. In just a moment, attendees will be prompted to fill out a course evaluation survey, and we'd appreciate hearing your thoughts on today's session. Also, all webinar registrants will receive a link to the recording of today's session via email within a few business days. And on behalf of SAGE, thank you for joining us. And again, I apologize for my crushing the introduction to this webinar. Take care, everyone.